Okay, so welcome back to this channel. So in my previous videos, I have written the unit test for my service file and also for the controller files. And now in this video, we will learn that how we can write e2e test for our Nest.js API. Okay, so in e2e test, we basically send the actual request to the database, okay, or to the backend, and then we will test that all the routes are working properly. Okay, so for the e2e test, if I go to my package.json file, you can see that here we have a separate command that is test e2e that will run all the files in this test folder that are ending with this e2e-spec.ts. Okay, so now we will create we can also create a separate file for that, but I will write all the tests in this file because we have 5 to 6 routes only, so we don't have to create our separate files. I will write all my e2e tests in this file, but you can also write in this separate file. Okay, for example, if I close this from here, I can simply create here a file. For example, for books, I can simply type here books dot e2e, okay, e2e dash spec.ts. Okay, in this way I can create a file, and the boilerplate code is going to be same. This is going to be exactly same for this file also. Okay, but I will write that in the app file because we have 5 to 6 routes only. Okay, so first of all, we have created a describe block here. You can see that contains the name of the file. For example, in this case, I will have type here app controller, which is e2e test. Okay, I can also type here books and auth controller. Okay, e2e. So this means that we are writing the e2e test for both book and auth controller in this file. Okay, first of all, we know that before each block that runs before all tests, we have to create our testing module. So we will use here test.create testing module, and in that we simply have to just pass the app module in the imports array. Okay, and this is the app module which is present in the source. This is the app module. Okay, we just have to pass that in the imports, then we will compile that, and after that we will call this module fixture, which is this instance dot create nest application. We will store that in the app, and then we use this app dot init to start the application. Okay, so and after that we can simply write with this it block, we can write all the e2e tests one by one. Okay, so this is the basic boilerplate code for this e2e test. I hope that you understand. Before that, let's run it, and to run that I'll simply have to run this command, which is this test colon e2e. So I will simply type here npm run test e2e, press here enter. You can see that we only have this app.e2e-spec.ts. it has this e2e test that returns hello world, so it is passing here successfully, but we have to write our own e2e test here. Okay, first of all, let's write the unit test for the auth controllers, for the register, and then for the login. Okay, so I will simply type here that it is going to be, let's type here the name. So it is going to be post request. Okay, then the name is going to be register a new user. Okay, then we will simply return here app.http get http server. We will use this app that we have used to initialize our application .get http server, and then after that we can chain bunch of functions like this. So now this is a post request, so I will use here dot post, and on the post I have to pass the URL, and my route is /auth/sign up. Okay, so this is my route, and after the post I have to send the user that I want to register. Okay, so in the send we have to pass in here the body, so I will pass in here the user. Okay, so let's get a user on the top. So I will simply type here like const user, that is going to be, let's type here name, and then I type here the email, that is going to be gulam@gmail.com, and then I have here my password, that is going to be 1234567 like this. So this is user that we will pass in the body. Then after sending that, we expect that that the status code is going to be 201 created. Okay, and then I use here dot then, in that I have access to the response that I will get back. Okay, so I will expect expect res dot body dot token. We know that we have a token in the body dot to be defined. Okay, so if the token is there, this means that the user is registered successfully and we got back our token. Okay, if I save it from here, and now if I test my unit test, oh sorry, e2e test, and actually before running that we also have to connect to our database. Okay, now we are just testing this application, so we don't want to pollute our original database. We will create a separate database for testing our application. Okay, so what I can do here is I will simply, first of all, I will type here before all. Okay, I will connect to my database. Okay, so before all is the function that will run before running all the tests. Okay, in that I can simply connect to my database. Okay, so I will type here mongoose dot connect. In that we have to pass in here the database URL, that is going to be process dot env dot db underscore URI. Okay, now we know that it runs it has a callback function. So I will simply type here that after connecting to database, simply mongoose dot connection dot db dot drop database. Okay, so it will drop, after connecting that it will drop that database to make sure that our database is completely empty. Okay, simply save it. So this is before all, and also we have to type here after all. So after running all the tests, we also have to disconnect from the database. So I will simply type here mongoose dot disconnect. Okay, so now if I go back to my here in the app.module.ts, remember that here we are using this .env file that contains the database that we are using for the development, but we want a database for the testing. So what I will do here is I will simply create, first of all, rename this file to .env.development like this. Then I'll create a new file here that is called .env.test. Okay, so that is .env.test where it is. I will rename it to .env.test. So I will copy this from here and I paste that here, and I will use here dash test database. Save it. So now we have this for development and this for the test. So I can simply type here, instead of that I can simply type here .env, then dot the process dot env dot node underscore env. Okay, so if I run the application, by default it run in development mode, so it is going to be .env.development. And if I run the npm run test, I also have to add here in the package.json that if I run this command, then set node underscore env is equal to test. Okay, so it will set the node env is equal to test, and then it will use the .env.test file that contains this test database URL. Okay, so if I save it, now let's check it out. If I type here this command, and you can see that our test is passing here successfully, the user is registered. If I open my database here, you can see that here we have this library dash next dash API dash test. In that we have this user. Okay, if I open that, I go to the documents, you can see that here we have the user is Gulam and gulam@gmail.com. So if I run the unit test again, it will delete that user and clear the database, and then it will add again. If I go back, even if I reload the data, you can see that I still have this user, but now the password is changed. Okay, so this is our testing database. Okay, so now our first test is passing for the registered user. Now we have to write second unit test for the login. I will simply copy that from here and I put that here. So I will type here login user. That is also going to be a GET request actually. Okay, slash auth slash login. And now in the send, we have to pass in here first of all the email, that is going to be user dot email. Then we have to pass in here the password, that is going to be user dot password. Okay, so in the login we have to, in the body we have to pass email and the password. Then we expect that it to be 200. Okay, and then we expect that the rest.body.token.to be defined. Okay, if I save it, and now let's run the test again for this login, and now you can see that the test is failing because expected 200 got 404 not found. Okay, so now this is a get request, so we have to type here get to resolve this issue. If I save it, and now if I run the test again, I hope that it will work fine. And now the tests are passing here successfully. Now let's write the e2e test for our book resource. Before that, I create a describe block here. In that, I will simply type here auth. Okay, and then I will put both of these tests inside the auth like this. Okay, then I create a second block for the book test. Okay, so now this is for the book. Save it. Now in that, first of all, we have to write the unit test for the book resource. Now let's write the unit test for the create book, because we don't have any book in the testing database. So first of all, we will create a book, then we will test other routes. Okay, so what I will do here is I will simply copy this from here just to save some time, and I put that here. So that is a post request that is going to be create new book. Okay, and that is going to be slash books. This is a post request, and then we have to send in here the new book. With that, we expect 201, then we expect that res.body._id to be defined. If the id is there, this means that we have successfully saved the book in the database. Then we can also expect that request.body.title to equal new book dot title, and that is res. Okay, so now we need this new book. I go back to my book, and then in the book dot spec dot here, then I copy this of new book here. Okay, then I go to the top and I simply paste that after here, and I will import the category. Okay, and that is going to be dot slash src slash book slash this. Okay, so now after that, if I now run the test again, so you can see that here we get here unauthorized error, because this is a protected route, so only authenticated users can create a new book. So you have to pass the JWT token in here. So I will use here dot set. I will set here authorization header, so authorization, and then I will set here bearer space and then the token, that is going to be JWT token. Okay, so I will get that from, I will copy that and create a variable here that is going to be let JWT token, that is going to be string. By default its value is going to be empty string. Okay, and then after logging in, I will simply set here JWT token is going to be res dot body dot token. If I simply save it, now let's run the test again. So now you can see that our test is passing it successfully for create a new book. Okay, now let's write unit test for our second route, which is get all books. I will copy that and I put that here. That is going to be a get request. So get all books. So this is a get request. This is not a protected route. We don't have to send anything. We will expect here that the status code is going to be 200, and we expect that res.body dot length, because this is an array, so we can expect that it to be 1, because we only have created one book, so it should be 1. If I save it, and now if I run the test again, you can see that here the both tests are passing here successfully. Okay, so now let's write our third test for the get single book. If I copy that from here and I put that here, I will simply type here get, then get a book by id. Okay, so the route is going to be slash slash books, then slash the id of the book. Okay, so how we can get the id? We can get the id of the book that you have just created. Okay, So what I can do here is I will simply create one more variable here that is called book created. Okay, so I will copy that from here, and then I will set it right after this. That is going to be res dot body. Okay, and now I can pass here book created dot underscore id. Okay, and then we will expect it to be 200, then res dot body dot to be defined. Okay, and then we can also expect that res dot body dot underscore id dot to equal to the book created dot underscore id. So if the res dot body dot id is equal to the book created id, this means that this is exactly the same book. If I run the test again, now you can see that the third test is also passing. Okay, so now let's write the test for the update book. Okay, so that is going to be a put request. Okay, so update a book by id, so that is going to be slash book slash the id of the book. Then we have to set the authorization header because this is a protected route, so I will simply copy these two from here. Okay, then I put that here, and in the send I only want to update the title, so I will simply type here title, that is going to be updated name. Okay, then expect res.body dot to be defined, then res.body dot title. Let's type here const book is going to be this title. Okay, so I will pass in here this book, and then I expect that title should be equal to the book dot title. Save it, and this is a put request. Save it, and now if I run the test again, so now you can see that our test is also passing here successfully. If I type here this, and the test will absolutely fail. Okay, so you can see that we expected the title, but we get here this. Alright, so that is going to be book.title. At the end we have the route for the delete book, so I will simply copy this from here. Okay, and then this is a delete a book by id, so delete, and then I will simply remove this. We don't have to send anything here, and then we are simply going to expect here that res.body dot to be defined and res.body dot deleted dot to equal true. Save it, and now if I run the test again, so now you can see that the test is actually failing. We expected true, but we received undefined. Okay, so if I go back to the source in the book, and then in the book controller, so we have here this. Okay, so we are not returning here actually true. So what I will do here is I will simply type here return deleted to true, and then the promise that is going to be deleted, that is going to be boolean. Okay, so I simply copy that from here, copy that, and I just put that here. Simply save it, and now if I run the unit test e2e test again, so delete is declared here, where we have to actually save this file. If I save it, and now if I run the test again, so now you can see that our test is passing here successfully. Okay, so this means that we have written all the e2e tests for all the routes. You can see that right here. And actually before closing the video, I have changed the implementation right here, so unit test must fail. So we have successfully done the e2e test. So what I will do is now let's run npm run test watch. I think so the unit test will fail. Okay, So you can see that the test is failing for the deleted true. Okay, so what I can do here is I can simply go to my source. This is because we have changed the implementation in our book.service.ts right here. We have changed its type, so that's why our unit test is failing. So this is the benefit of writing the unit test. If we change the implementation right here, the test will fail, so we know that what we have to change. Okay, so what I will do here is I will simply go to my book.service.spec.ts, and here I have to type here that result to be deleted to true, I think so. Okay, and let's type here p, then I filter here. Okay, so if I save it, alright, so you can see that now the unit tests are passing here successfully. So I hope that you understand what we have discussed in this video. If you have any question, you can post that in the comment section. I will try my best to respond there. So I will see you in some other video.